What if you could add a new team member to your business who never sleeps, never misses a deadline, and takes care of all of the stuff that you hate doing? Well, today, you're going to learn how that's possible. Welcome to Rocky Mountain Marketing. I'm your host, Katie Brinkley. Join us as we dive deep with the world's leading digital marketing experts every single Tuesday. It's all about giving you the strategies that are working right now, directly from those who are making an impact. With my 20 years of experience, I'm here to help you navigate the world of digital marketing. Whether you're looking to sharpen your skills or transform your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started on today's journey to success. Welcome back to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. So have you ever felt like you just spend half of your day on tasks that don't actually move the needle in your business, like scheduling things, data entry, chasing invoices, answering the same questions over and over and over? No! I think every entrepreneur listening has had that moment where you wonder, why am I spending so much time on this when I should be focused on strategy or clients or something that's actually growing my business? Well, that's why I'm so excited about today's episode, because we are talking about AI and automation, and not the complicated, overwhelming, you need to be a coder kind of AI, but in a practical, approachable way that can help you start saving hours every single week. And who better than my guest today? So my guest today is Dr. Bradford Carlton. He is an author, he's a speaker, he's a coach, and a consultant who helps businesses transform their operations with the power of AI. He's worked in marketing for over a decade with athletes, celebrities, you name it, all over the world. And now he's bringing his talents right here to Rocky Mountain Marketing. He has a low-code automation platforms that he specializes in, and he's showing business owners that you don't have to be techie to leverage AI for faster results. So, Bradford, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me on today, Katie.
Well, I'd love to start here. So you have this very rich background in marketing. You've worked with some really big names. What made you shift into AI and automation as your main focus?
AI is the future of business. It's the future of the world. It's the future of the economy. It's the future of everything. And it's not going to go away. I like to think back to 1999. I was just coming out of middle school, going into high school. And there's this little thing called the internet that was popping up. And I heard the same things. Oh, it's just a fad. No one's really going to do anything with it. But everybody uses the internet today. So fad, I don't know. But AI is definitely here to stay. And I figured if I don't learn it myself, then somebody else is going to learn it and they're going to get ahead of me. And then where am I going to be at?
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. I think that most entrepreneurs are using AI in some capacity, but I feel that this is why I was so excited to have you on the show, because I want to talk about how we can actually use AI to stop being buried in those repetitive tasks, where you're actually going to be giving back yourself the capacity to work on more strategy, client relationships, you name it. So explain what an AI agent is to them.
Sure. So an AI system or an AI agent is really just an automated system that handles a task. It accomplishes a goal. As an example, I just built one yesterday that takes a transcript from my videos and it writes all of my post copy for my community. It writes all of my social media copy. It takes the clips that I need to post onto YouTube for my cards. It tells me what I should make for my handouts for my community, and on and on and on and on, right? It saves me, just that one workflow alone saves me 4 to 5 hours, if not more. And that's just an example of stuff that you can make. Basically, the way you really need to think about it is, if it does not require a human body to actually do it, then it can be automated.
I love that. So business owners who are maybe hearing about this for the first time, let's talk about it a little bit more. These are
Right.
like digital assistants that can handle specific responsibilities.
There's a lot of hype right now on the word agent, but I personally don't see it that way. I see it as just a process. Everybody should have SOPs, right? Like when I go in to consult with people, that's the first thing I ask is, do you have SOPs? And it's usually no, but that's why I get paid, right? So if you have a process that you're supposed to follow, it takes the information from a spreadsheet. You then need to analyze that data in some way. That data then needs to be process, and you need to write a report based on that. All of those are just little steps of a process you already follow. And whether you call it an agent, you call it a bot, you call it a workflow, whatever you call it, that's what you're automating, is those steps in that order.
I love that. It's an automated SOP. I love kind of thinking of it that way. So you gave us the example of social media. What are some other real world examples that you've seen, maybe in marketing or operations, where an AI agent has been able to step in and create that workflow or save that the business owner some serious time?
Sure. Well, I mean, the thing that I set out to do when I first got into building AI agents and automations, and it was really only 9 months ago, and my background is not technical at all. I was an attorney, I was a business consultant. I don't know how to code or program. I still don't. After doing this for 9 months, I still don't know how to do that. So don't feel that you need to be techie. But the first thing I wanted to do is replace myself. How do I get myself out of a job? And so I've built an executive assistant that handles more or less everything I do. The only thing it does not yet do for me is film my content. And it's almost there. We're getting really close. There's some really cool avatar tools out there to be able to do that. I'm just not ready to let go of that one yet.
If people that are
Sure.
listening, maybe they're thinking like, okay, well, still an AI agent, you say it's real simple, like you don't have to have coding or anything, but what are some of the other more common myths or fears that you hear from entrepreneurs about using AI agents?
It's expensive. That's what I hear all the time. Oh, well, if I'm going to have to do this, it's going to cost me so much. No, I spend maybe a couple cents a day if I'm really pumping stuff out, like the one I just mentioned before that writes all that stuff. Maybe 50 cents per transcript it has to run, but I mean, it makes a lot of output. So the idea that this stuff costs a lot is not true. I use self-hosted software, which was a little bit of a learning curve to have to figure out because I'm not techie, but it doesn't cost me anything to actually run the software other than the tokens that I have to pay OpenAI for or whoever else. But I feel like actually I didn't answer your previous question. Like, what are some use cases? Data entry. I see posts all the time for hiring data entry people. And I'm sitting there like, I can build an automation that does that. And I actually just did. I released it on YouTube this week, last week, one of the two, that you take whatever input you have, whether it's a scanned document or a PDF report, pulls the information off of it and it puts it out in some format. Like, this is not complicated stuff. And my bio says I'm at the AI whisperer or something like that. But I whisper to the AI, but I'm yelling to everybody else that you have to jump on this because it's so simple. Once you understand kind of the basics of it, just the frameworks, you can do it. Anybody can do this. And before you know it, you'll be saving hours. And if you're like me, you'll be working more because you're accomplishing more.
And it's true. I think that right now, the biggest obstacle is us as humans, our own imagination as to what
Yeah,
we can ask these AI agents to do for us. So let's talk about the practical side a little bit too.
sure.
So I know that every entrepreneur has those time-sucking tasks that they dread. I mean, I had no idea before I hired my first employee how much time I spent on different tasks.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until I started tracking my time and I was like, oh my God, I'm only saying that my podcast takes me an hour a week. Really, it's taken me 4. So I mean, like, I didn't realize any of that until I really sat down and tracked all of my time. If someone's ready to start with automation, where are the easiest wins?
The easiest wins are going to come from those highly repeatable tasks that you just don't do without thinking. It's just the thing that you enter in the information every day, whatever it is. You have to put that time tracking. Time tracking is a great one. So I used to be an
Mm,
attorney. I had to track to the tenth of a minute, right? I have a time tracker attached to my executive assistant. I say start and then the client name, and it starts tracking. I don't have to now log anything. At the end, I just add in a voice comment of what I did and say stop, and it stops it. It adds it in my notes. It puts it and it logs the amount of time I did for the day, and it does it for me. When I was an attorney, I remember at the end of every day, my wife and I, who had our law practice together, we'd sit down like, okay, for this client, let's add up the tenths of a minute, and it took us like an hour to do that. Now it's done.
yeah. What about, we talked about SOPs at the beginning a little bit. Let's talk about how maybe workflows. How could someone, for me, hiring my COO because he thinks that way, I don't think in a workflow sort of way, which is why once I hired him, everything got better. But I mean,
Yeah.
let's talk about maybe how an AI agent could help you with some of your different workflows or onboarding tasks, lead routing. What other examples could you share with us about how we could use an AI agent?
It handles obviously social media. That's a big one that everybody does. Lead finding. Lead's a great one. I just built a couple lead scrapers in the past couple days that use different services available online. You put in either the location you want to search or the category of business you want to search. It'll go off and it'll pull off a list, and then it'll filter it based on the last time they posted or how big their followers are or whatever criteria you want. how big their business is, depending on if you're searching like Crunchbase or something like that. And then it filters it down based on whatever criteria you have, writes the email for you. And if you set it up, it'll send the email and add them to your follow-up system and on and on. And like you said, you're just limited by your imagination. And if you have a limited imagination, ask the AI. Come up with an AI agent that is built in the system prompt to say, hey, you're my idea generation bot. You help me come up with new ideas to promote my business. And then you just talk to that.
For me, as a small business owner, getting the hours back every single week was such a difference maker. And this is what I want you, listener, to think about right now is what is one thing that you're doing manually over and over and over again that could be handled by automation? And just sit with that for a second. And I know that, my audience, I can already hear them thinking, well, this sounds great. But again, I'm not technical at all. Like, do we have to set up some like Zapier integrations or like, how am I going to set this up? What would you say to the entrepreneur that's listening and says, I'm still just figuring out how to make it so that I don't get dashes in my outputs from, ChatGPT. Like, I'm not that techie. How am I going to get started?
You can't stop the M dashes. There's nothing. I've tried. That one's just forever. I would say you're lucky because you have me. When I started this 9 months ago, I was in that boat. Like, how do I set up the MetaGraph API? I have no idea. How do I set up my integration to my Google account to be able to hook up Sheets? I don't know. And when I went to YouTube looking for stuff, I couldn't find anything, at least anything that was helpful. So I've spent the past 9 months just making content focused on the business owner who doesn't have a lot of time. There's no fluff. There's no hype. I'm not pitching, with this workflow, you'll make $5,000 in an hour. None of that. I focus on, this is what you do to build this, and then I give it all away for free.
Tell everybody where they can watch your YouTube channel so they can check it out after they're done listening to this episode.
Just find me, Bradford Carlton. It's as easy as it can be. I have a school community where I give away all the downloads. It's called school.com/automate-business-AI. And that's kind of the brand I have going. But it's not hard to find my content. You just search for my name. It's everywhere. I've been interviewed by everybody and all of that too.
Let's talk a little bit about some of these different tools like Zapier or Make. Just explain what those tools are really quick.
So what you're discussing are low code automation tools. So instead of having to get an IDE and learn how to program in Python or something like that, which I don't understand, you use a tool. I use N8N. And it's like putting Legos together is the way I like to think of it. My daughter built her very first her own bot yesterday. The way I think of it is in terms of logic. It's ifs, thens, ands, ors, and Legos. So if I have a spreadsheet that I get the information from, what do I need to do with it next? Well, I would need to pull out a particular row or column. Okay, well then what happens next? I then need to also add in this other thing or then do this other thing. It's not as complicated as I'm making it sound. It really isn't. Once you get into it, it's literally just Legos. You start with a trigger, what causes the workflow to start, and then how do you process it? And then what happens to the output of that process? And then what happens to the output of that process? And when you first start, you're starting with like 5 blocks, and that's it. And when you get into it, they end up like 100 blocks with all kinds of branches and really cool systems. But start simple. Always start simple and then build upon it. When I started, I figured I was going to build a bot a day. Just one little tool, one little thing that I could do every single day, small things. And then I was able to copy and paste what I had already made 2 months ago into the new thing because I already made it. It's yours forever. You've built this tool.
And the thing that I like about Zapier and Make is that, most of these platforms they're kind of like Canva. Like they're pretty easy. They're drag and drop. And, like you said before, you don't need a ton of coding in order to be able to use a lot of these tools.
Yeah, if you need coding, ask ChatGPT. That's what I still don't know code. Hey, ChatGPT, I need a code that will, the one I built today, it'll take an output from a process that came with all their Instagram posts. I need to identify the posts that have a timestamp that's older than 2 months and then remove it from my data so I only get the most recent stuff. And it did it. Just wrote it out, copy to paste it, worked right away.
Where do you see AI agents and automation going in the next, I was going to say 2 to 3 years, but I mean like in the next 6 to 12 months, I feel, is a much better because how fast everything moves.
I can answer that one. I got asked last week, where do you see it in 5 years? I'm like, I have no idea. No, 5 years, who knows? And 6 to 12 months, okay. I think that a lot of what I'm doing manually now, which is building these automations, someone will build a tool that actually works well to build these automations for you. So you'll just be able to type into maybe ChatGPT, hey, I need a bookkeeper. Can you make me a process that'll act as my bookkeeper? And then you just have to hook up your QuickBooks and then your bank account, and then there it goes.
Someone will create a tool that will create all the tools and, man,
And we're
I
not
just
there
think it's
yet, though. I've
exciting.
tried. I've tried to build
Yeah.
it. I've seen other people build it. They're all junk at the moment. You still have to rely on the good old ingenuity to be able to build these things. But 6 months to a year, I think it'll be there.
It's exciting, but I also think that it's a wake-up call, right? I mean, if you're gonna wait too long, you're not just behind, you're gonna not even be in the same league, in the same ballpark, and if this is one of those shifts that's happening whether we want it to or not, and the question is, are you going to be able to use it to your advantage?
Like I have my system sends out emails to my leads for me. It follows up with them if they don't respond. I have a phone reception agent. When people call in, it'll schedule for me. It'll answer their questions for them. If they need to be routed to a different part of my business, it'll call that person's number and that person can answer it. Like that's just the tip of the iceberg. And every single day, like I said, I'm trying to build something new and I'm potentially replacing somebody's job out there.
I know a lot of people that I see in the comments, from on posts and stuff, there's a lot of people that are like, "Ah, like, AI is out to take all of our jobs," but I mean, like, I think that we have to just be learning how to use these tools to help us, and this has been such a great conversation. I wanna recap a few things for everyone listening. Number 1, AI agents are accessible right now. You
Mhm.
don't need to be a coder. Start small, replace one repetitive task, and just build from there. Let's What are, like, maybe your 5 tools or tasks that you would recommend getting set up? If someone said, "Okay, I have my morning clear. Now I've listened to this episode, Bradford. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try building out my first AI agent, my first 5." Which ones would you recommend they start with?
So I wouldn't recommend them doing it that way. If you're actually going to learn to do this, which you should learn this, this is a skill like learning how to use the internet, like learning how to use social media. You have to learn this one.
Yeah.
I'd start at the ground zero. Start with a trigger, just a chat trigger. Start with an AI agent and then start talking to it. You're going to realize right away, oh, it doesn't remember anything I say. So you'll have to learn how to add memory into that system. And then once you can chat with it and it remembers, well, what do you want it to do? Well, I want it to be able to pull from a spreadsheet or a Google Doc or something else. That way it has more context to be able to answer you. And then how do you want that output? Don't think in terms of full-blown tasks, because I did that. When I first started, I started with an org chart. I didn't start with thinking in terms of code or anything like that, or specific bots I was going to build. I built my org chart. And all the different departments and all the different individuals I would have at the bottom of this org chart. And I broke each of those jobs down into the constituent tasks that each of them entails. And I said, okay, I'm going to try to do this task today as an automation. And my email handling, that's easy. My calendar handling. So my calendar bot, if I say, oh, I have a meeting with Katie, it will then say, oh, is this a Zoom call? If it's a Zoom call, it'll then generate a Zoom link for me and then invite Katie to the event on my calendar as an example. But I didn't start there. I started with an AI agent that had a calendar tool attached to it that I could say, hey, can you add an event? And that was it, because to add an attendee was an extra tool and so on. You have to learn how to build these up. Or if you don't learn how to do it, you wait 6 months to a year when other entrepreneurs have been, and then you might
Yep.
be behind the ball. There might not be a ball at that point. Who knows?
Well, for anyone listening, I want to challenge you this week. 1, grab a pen and paper, write down 3 tasks that you hate doing most in your business and ask yourself, how could AI handle this for me? So, Bradford, where can people, I know we mentioned earlier, your YouTube channel, you have your school community, you're giving away a ton of free education for people so that they can learn on how to do this themselves. But where can people go to connect with you, learn more? Tell us again one more time.
Sure. You can find me on YouTube. That's the easiest place you're going to be able to find everything that I have. I give away 95% of everything for free on YouTube. Just Bradford Carlton, Automate Business AI is the brand name. If you want to download the workflows, you'll go to my school community. So that's school.com/automate-business-AI. You can also find that just by going to my website, bradfordcarlton.com.
Bradford, thank you so much for being here. And we'll make sure to link all of those links in the show notes. Thank you all for listening. And don't wait. Like Bradford said, do not wait until you're burned out or you're overwhelmed. You're going to be left behind. So start small, start today. Give yourself the gift of your time back in your business so you can focus on growing it. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Bradford, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Katie.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. I hope you're leaving with valuable insights and the inspiration to lead your market. If you've enjoyed our time together and found today's podcast episode useful, I have a small favor to ask of you. Please hit that subscribe button to stay updated with the latest episodes. And if you know someone who could benefit from these episodes, maybe a fellow business leader or an aspiring entrepreneur, go ahead and share this episode with them. Let's spread the knowledge and grow together. Also, I'd love to hear from you and continue the conversation beyond the podcast. Visit me at katiebrinkley.com to connect, to find more resources, or just to share your journey. And be sure to pick up your copy of my new book, The Social Shift, at katiebrinkley.com/book. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Katie Brinkley, and I can't wait to dive into more strategies and stories with you on the next episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Let's keep on taking your marketing to new heights.